what we sort of picked out at the start and what you've worked on over that time. What were some of those initial things that we saw, and what were you thinking about then when you went back to the pool to work on them?
Sure. So I guess the thing that really stuck in my head, which was the critique from my coaches, and believe me, I really think that we have a great coaching staff, and they do take the time to work with you when you ask for it, but I didn't even know what to ask for. I mean, that was really where it started. But the whole spinning and slipping thing, I really didn't understand what that meant. And it wasn't until I sent you the videos, and the first thing you said to me was, "You're not front quadrant swimming or freestyle stroke." I had no idea what that meant. And then when you showed it in the video of how the quadrants were broken down and how you have to have one hand always in front of your head, to me, it was almost like a 3/4 catch up kind of a drill that we would do in practice. But, drills that I knew 40 years ago were to relax. That was to give yourself a break from the workout. It wasn't to correct anything. So, the front quadrant freestyle was really the big thing that was the eye opener to me. And then how to do it, and then how is that going to make me better in the pool? So I took your comments and I went right back in and started trying it. And the first thing I noticed was I've got a lot of dead space when I reach out and try to get the other hand in. And what I ended up doing was, as you mentioned, I was kicking way too hard in between the poles, and I was just as exhausted trying to do what I was, the distances I was doing before, but it might look prettier. So it didn't really accomplish what I was set out to do. And then we talked and we went back and forth on some other videos, and you mentioned about trying not to put all your effort into the kick, into these two as you pull from each side. And what I then did was, I looked at your 8-week program that you had, and in one of those weeks, I think it was week 7, was about the kick to match the timing of your pull. So I really just focused on that. My natural kick is kind of a 2-beat crossover kind of kick. I was kind of a middle distance swimmer as a kid, and I guess that just, fit me well. So I tried to really implement the one kick per pull on each side, and then I'll fill in a little bit in between where I could. And then it wasn't until you said the word, I'm very visual because I'm an architect, right? It wasn't until you mentioned to me, think of it as skating. That's when the light bulb went off in my head. It was like, I know how to skate. I know how to ski. I know what that glide kind of feels like. And when you put an effort in and you get the most in return for that one push. So for weeks, that's all I kept thinking was glide, skate, and really try to get that timing down with my down kick on one pull with one leg and see how that works out. So I felt like I was really improving, and I think I was. And then what I realized was it felt slower, but I was still going the same speed. And that really didn't click in my head until I started applying this to the repeat sets we were doing in practice, because I didn't want to end up at the back of the line in the lane line while I'm trying all this stuff. But I realized I'm staying in the same position on that. I'm doing this technique. And as you mentioned, and in the middle of the 200, I said, well, let me wait till about the 125 or 150 and count my strokes, because I'm kind of exhausted at that point, and I'll see how I am when I'm tired. And I counted my strokes, and it was 14 strokes. And I realized, you know what? I've always been an 18 stroke per lap swimmer, and my stroke count's coming down. And I'm hitting about the same times. It was a couple seconds faster on the 100 with this new technique. And nobody's yelling at me.